Light and Love, and today I'm reading from the book The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. And I think a lot of times we think, I'm sitting in a beautiful place, and a lot of times it's so easy to fall into these old habits of saying, why don't I have this? And to look at the empty half of our glass and what we didn't achieve instead of what we have achieved and what joy there is. So universal lesson, the world is your classroom and people are your assignments. I love that because I also agree with that point of view. If you look at that, everything that happens to you is a lesson. Okay, so we look at, so she gives steps of to begin the process of showing up for your universal assignments. So step one, recognize the assignment and call it by its name. The first step is to witness that what may seem to be a terribly uncomfortable situation is actually a universal assignment. In other words, witness your craziness, call it by its name, fear. Accept that the fear has shown up in this way as a divine assignment for healing and growth. Take a deep, honest look at the situation that's causing you pain. Identify all the ways that the person or circumstance is triggering your fear-based beliefs. Honor yourself for having the strength to witness this instead of running away. Be proud of yourself for seeing it as an assignment. Trust that if you weren't ready to accept this assignment, you wouldn't have opened this book. So you're ready unconsciously, you signed a sacred contract that said you're ready to go big. You're ready to heal. You're ready to be free. So now we are, it fell. Now we are celebrating Passover, coming out of Egypt. And Egypt is a narrow place. So in essence, when you come out of Egypt, you're coming out of a narrow place of your confined view of the world, and you're being opened up into going to freedom. What is freedom? Freedom is the ability to look at an old situation with new eyes. If you looked at it before as a problem, maybe you can look at it as a challenge. Step two, accept that you cannot avoid the assignment, that you can only postpone it. If you don't choose to accept the assignment today, it will continue to present itself in your new relationships and experiences. How many times have you avoided something only to have had it returned to you? You have two choices. The first choice is that you follow the fear. Fear everything and run. Sometimes that may feel like the safest option. Trust me, it's not. Running from fear is like running around a track. You'll inevitably wind up back in the same place again and again until you truly accept it. This is a very deep truth we know from psychology. When we don't face up to our issues, our traumas, they will come back to us in other forms. Instead of following fear, Gabrielle recommends showing up for the assignment with grace. Be willing to show up for the assignment once and for all. Trust that the universe never gives you what you cannot handle. I think there's a need to differentiate fear or choosing not to go through the path again. I had a situation yesterday where I saw, I'm going through the same path. And this is not really a forest, it's a little area, but imagine you're in a forest and there's a path. And you always go the same path and you always end up in a place of disappointment and dissatisfaction. Then what you have to do is, like the poet Robert Frost recommends, choose the road less taken. Don't follow the same road that leads to the same situations. Try something new. Step three, honor your feelings. This is very, 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 very important. So how many steps are there? I'm getting a little bit impatient. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to just not go into depth. Honor your feelings. Showing up for the universal assignment requires your willingness to feel the pain it triggers so you can heal from the past. Many folks on the spiritual path skip this incredibly important step. It's easy to throw an affirmation on top of your fear, try to will it away, but underneath all our difficult experiences and unfelt anger, resentment, and fear. So honor your feelings, right? The healing occurs when you give yourself permission to feel whatever feelings live below the triggers. Rather than ending the relationship, leaving the job, or avoiding the assignment, show up for them fully and completely, allowing yourself to feel all the pain and rage. I disagree. There are some situations I would avoid. If the job doesn't, if you don't feel good in this job, leave it. Leave it. If you can afford to leave the job, do it. Something better will show up. The universe doesn't close one door without opening a window. Trust in your gut feelings. So I strongly disagree with you don't have to feel the pain. I mean, what is she really saying? If you're in a bad relationship, which is abusive, should you stay with it? But I think you have to differentiate between an abusive relationship or, let's say, a relationship which is challenging, that has very good aspects, but demands work that you should put in. Call on compassion, absolutely. It says here, take a moment to write down some ways you could speak to yourself compassionately. So, be kind to yourself. Understand how tough it must be to go through it. Have compassion for where you are in this moment. Step 5, place your faith in the universe. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you, universe, for presenting me with this divine assignment for spiritual growth and healing. I am ready and willing to show up for this assignment with love. I welcome your support. Show me where to go, what to do, and what to say. I trust I am being guided. That's very, very important. Sometimes you may feel alone, and people try to avoid this feeling of alone. But you know, if you're connected to the universe, one way is through yoga. If you truly are connected to this world and you don't feel separated, you feel connected to the trees and the birds and everything in this universe, then you don't ever feel alone, and then you don't need to find solutions like various addictions, because you have this peace and being at one. Step 6, take care of your side of the street. Once you accepted your assignment, surrendered it to the universe for healing, you will immediately feel lighter. You'll feel a sense of release, knowing that you've begun the process of healing your old patterns. The more you surrender, the more faithful you'll feel. What about the people who play starring roles in your fear-based story? Acknowledge the assignment. Explain it. We're often afraid of being vulnerable, but vulnerability is incredibly powerful. It creates genuine connection. When you're ready to clean up your side of the street, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. There is nothing better than your authentic truth. So, and step 7 is welcoming healing. You have to accept the assignment. Pray to be healed. The universe will do for you what you cannot do for yourself. Surrendering may seem crazy to you, scary, but it's normal. Just keep it simple. Begin surrendering to the fact you're willing to show up for your universal assignment. Just today I showed up for a job and I saw it, okay, it's going to be another dead-end job where I feel frustrated and I don't want to be it. So it wasn't fear, but it was the lack of wanting to feel pain again. And if you're like meeting somebody and you feel, this is going to lead somewhere bad, then don't go that path. Allow yourself to say, I don't want to be with this person. I don't want to meet this person. I don't want to spend time with this person. It's okay. Universal lesson, freedom from the past is available to you when you show up for the assignment in the present. So let's recap. Recognize the assignment, call it by its name, fear. Overcoming fear, accept you cannot avoid the assignment. Be willing to show up. Yeah, I'm afraid to do something more challenging. And so yesterday, not taking the job was actually facing up to the fear that nothing better will come up, that I'm desperate. Same thing with relationship. Don't compromise. if you're not happy with the person, if you feel the relationship is not good for you and doesn't fulfill your needs and doesn't make you happy, don't be afraid to move away. Feel the feelings that live underneath the old pain. Call on compassion to clear the path. Ask the universe for help. Rely on a power greater than you to care for your side of the street. Own your part of the situation. Welcome healing and expect miracles. So I really recommend this book. I hope it's okay that I'm reading from it. It's just wonderful. It's clearly written by a woman who's done the work. What I don't agree with is that you should go with the fear and force yourself to stay at the job or the relationship. No. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. And remember, at the end of the day or the end of our lives, nobody ever says, oh, why didn't I take that leap of faith? Most people say, why didn't I take the chance? Why didn't I take the risk? And as they say, nothing ventured, nothing gained. When you don't take risks, you cannot gain anything. So take a risk. Jump into the unknown and avoid the known. That relationship that you're stuck in is something that you've known from childhood. It is the relationship with your father or your mother, and it's making you feel sad, and it gives you pain because it's something familiar. If your family was abusive to you as a child, not supporting your growth, you will find that familiarity, those same sort of traits in other relationships, until you're willing to face that and say, I don't want to suffer anymore, I don't want to feel pain anymore, and I am not afraid to try something new. You will fall the same old patterns. So it's time to break away, and it's time to release yourself from the confinement of Egypt, from the narrow confinement, and be liberated from the narrow, familiar, known path. Peace, light, and love.